Hey guys, today is a very special video because we're going to make an incredible Krug champagne dessert. The flavors of the dessert are created to pair incredibly well with a glass of Krug champagne, and I'm sure it's going to blow your mind. The first part is a lemon soufflé filled with an elderflower cream. The second part is a toasted brioche chocolate with a lemon chiboust and an elderflower and honey gel. The final part is an edible golden champagne cork that's filled with a brioche almond praline, confit lemon, and an elderflower mousse. It's definitely a big one, and I can't wait to hear your thoughts. So, let's begin. We're going to start by making an elderflower chong. This is a super intense Korean syrup and will be the base of a couple of recipes. First, pick enough elderflower for 100 grams. You want to remove as much stem as possible. Now, for every gram of elderflower, you need to add a gram of sugar. So for the 100 grams, I added 100 grams of sugar. Give it a good mix and then transfer it into a preserving jar. If there is any sugar left, just scoop it on top. Then close the jar and let it sit in your fridge for at least 10 days. Every other day you need to mix it a bit. In the end, all the sugar will dissolve and you'll end up with a flavor boost. Once that's done, pass the syrup through a fine sieve and press it with a spoon so you don't waste a single drop. Now keep it in your fridge for later. Then the toasted brioche chocolate. Take a brioche bread that weighs 400 grams and slice it in thick slices. Now place them on an oven tray and toast the brioche at 160 degrees Celsius till golden brown on both sides. I like a darker color, but if you prefer a lighter color, toast the bread at 140 degrees Celsius to ensure all the moisture has evaporated. Set it aside for later. Then transfer 200 grams of cocoa butter into a pan and melt it on a low heat. Meanwhile, spread 100 grams of milk powder on a metal tray and toast it at 160 degrees Celsius. Mix it every couple of minutes to ensure it gets an even golden brown color. Now pour the melted cocoa butter into a wet grinder and also add the toasted milk powder with 100 grams of sugar. Start grinding the chocolate. Then while grinding, also add half of the toasted brioche bread. Now it's all about patience. It's going to take a couple of hours, but you'll end up with a smooth and incredible rich toasted chocolate. Once the chocolate is done, we need to temper it. For that, first pour it into a bowl. Now pour 4/5 on your worktop and while moving the chocolate, cool it down till it's 27 degrees Celsius. I do this with a big pastry palette knife. Then transfer the chocolate back into the bowl and mix it well till it has a temperature of 30 degrees Celsius. Now I use the chocolate to fill both of the molds I use for this dessert. First is the Krug logo mold. Tap the mold a couple of times to remove any air bubbles and then turn it around to get rid of the excess chocolate. Clean the top with a palette knife and then let it set out of the fridge. The second mold we need to fill is the champagne cork mold. The process is exactly the same. Both the molds are from Mold Brothers. Find more information in the description of this video. Now we have quite a lot of leftover chocolate, and to process it I'm going to make my own chocolate bars. Fill your molds with the chocolate and then again tap it a couple of times to remove any air bubbles. Then let it set out of the fridge. We temper chocolate to create stable uniform crystals in the cocoa butter. This results in a smooth shiny finish, a satisfying snap when broken, it prevents the chocolate from easily melting, and the final reason is that the chocolate will shrink slightly so you can easily tap it out of the mold. Once the chocolate has shrunken, you know it's done. Then keep it out of the fridge for later. Now for the confit lemon peel. Take 5 lemons and peel them with a triangle cannelure. You can also do this with a knife, but I find this tool is very helpful for an even result. Then slice it in small pieces. Once it's done, blanch the peel for a minute in some boiling water. Then drain the water and repeat this process 2 more times. This will remove the bitter flavor. After the third time, drain the water again and add 100 grams of water with 100 grams of sugar. Let this simmer on a low heat to confit the peels. This takes about an hour. Meanwhile, clean the zested lemons by slicing off the peels. Now make a cut on one side of the segment and twist your knife to remove it. If there are any, also remove the seeds. Then when the peels have confit and softened, add the lemon segments and continue heating it till you're left with a nice jam. Now pour it into a bowl and let it cool down in your fridge. After that, fill your desired mold with the confit lemon and level it with a palette knife. Let this set in your freezer. Now for the toasted brioche praline. Mix 150 grams of sugar with 50 grams of water and caramelize it till it's golden brown. Do this on a medium-high heat. Once the caramel is golden, add 200 grams of almonds and continue heating it for a couple more minutes. Keep on stirring to create an even color on the almonds. When you're happy with the color and therefore flavor, turn off the heat and pour it on a silicone sheet. Spread it and then let it cool down completely. Then transfer it into a blender and start blending it. In the beginning not much will happen, but be patient. The almonds will release their oils and a praline will start to form. When that happens, add the remaining half of the toasted brioche and continue blending till you're happy with the consistency. For this dessert I wanted a bit more texture, so I only blended it for another 2 to 3 minutes. Then add 4 grams of flaky salt for seasoning and pour it into a bowl. Now fill a piping bag with the praline and pipe it on top of the frozen confit lemon. Let this freeze as well. If the confit lemon stays too soft, just turn down your freezer and let it freeze overnight. Now for the elderflower mousse. First soak 2 leaves or 3.3 grams of gelatin in cold water. Then pour 200 grams of cream into a bowl and start beating it. The consistency needs to be a bit thinner than yogurt. Now pour 80 grams of the elderflower syrup or chung into a pan and heat it up till it starts to steam. Then turn off the heat and dissolve the gelatin. Mix it well. Also add 50 grams of lemon juice. This will lower the temperature and your gelatin will start to work instantly. Now while mixing, add it to the whipped cream. Fold this together and then fill your Krug mold halfway. When that's done, take the frozen almond and lemon interior and press it in the mousse. Level the top with a palette knife and then freeze it till solid. Now for the elderflower and honey gel. Mix 100 grams of elderflower chung with 150 grams of lemon juice, 25 grams of ginger syrup, 30 grams of honey, 4 grams of agar powder and 3 grams of gel powder. Mix this well and then bring it to a boil for at least 30 seconds. Then pour it into a bowl and let it cool down in your fridge. After that, transfer it into a blender and blend it till smooth. Once smooth, pour it into a bowl and vacuum the gel 100% to remove any air bubbles. This will result in a clear gel with a more intense flavor. Then transfer it into a piping bottle and fill a small circled mold with the gel. Level it and then freeze it till solid. Now for the lemon chiboust. First soak 3 leaves or 5 grams of gelatin in cold water. Then zest 2 lemons. Then cut both the zested lemons in half and juice them for 60 grams of juice. Now cut half a vanilla pod in half and scrape out the seeds. Add the seeds to the pan together with 190 grams of cream, 25 grams of cornstarch and 60 grams of egg yolk. Mix it well and then while stirring heat it up to thicken it. Then turn off the heat and dissolve the gelatin. Now pass it through a fine sieve and press it through using a ladle or spatula. Keep this covered for later. Then mix 60 grams of sugar with 20 grams of water and heat this up till it's 118 degrees Celsius. Meanwhile, mix 50 grams of egg white with 10 grams of sugar and start beating it with a whisk. Once stiff fluffy peaks have formed, add the hot sugar syrup and keep on mixing for another 3 to 4 minutes to cool down the meringue. Then add the meringue to the lemon cream and fold it together. Don't overmix it, otherwise you will lose too much air. Now transfer it into a piping bag and fill your cork mold halfway. Press the frozen elderflower gel on top and then add another layer of the chiboust. Level it and then let it freeze till solid. Once frozen, stick some skewers in the corks and open up the mold. Keep them in your freezer for later. Now on the day of serving you can cover them with a layer of gold. For this, gently place a gold leaf on a bowl of cold water and submerge the cork in there. For each cork I needed 3 leaves. Then keep them covered in your fridge for later. Now for the elderflower broth. Mix 50 grams of elderflower chung with 50 grams of lemon juice, 20 grams of honey and 150 grams of apple juice. Then while mixing, add a knife tip of xanthan gum. This will thicken the broth and that will result in a more intense flavor experience. Now add a gold leaf and mix it to create a super cool effect. All the gold leaves I use are of course edible. Keep the broth in your fridge for later. Now we can start on the soufflé. First the chocolate galettes. Spread some tempered white chocolate on a plastic sheet and level it with a palette knife. Then let it set for a minute before cutting it with a big round cutter. Clean the cutter every now and then. Now add another layer of plastic and cover the chocolate with a heavy tray or cutting board. This will prevent the circles from bending while the chocolate sets. After an hour, remove the chocolate from the sheet and keep them covered for later. To really bring it to the next level, I placed a stencil on the galette and dusted some cocoa powder on there. This will create a super nice pattern or logo. Gently remove the stencil and keep the galette at room temperature for later. Now for the elderflower interior. Mix 100 grams of apple juice with 150 grams of cream and 30 grams of sugar. Bring this to a simmer. Once it's simmering, add 20 grams of elderflower. Again, only the flowers and not the stems. Mix it well, cover it with a lid and let it cool down out of the fridge. After that, pass the cream through a fine sieve and use a spoon so you don't waste a single drop. Now add 50 grams of egg yolk with 20 grams of cornstarch and 20 grams of lime juice. While stirring, heat this up to thicken the cream. This is the consistency we're looking for. Then pour it into a bowl, cover it and let it cool down in your fridge. Once cold, mix it once more till you have a smooth and thick cream. Now fill a mold with the cream and level it. Let it freeze till solid. Now for the souffle base. Zest 2 lemons with a fine grater or microplane. Cut those lemons in half and juice them for 80 grams of juice. Also add 120 grams of champagne, 10 grams of cornstarch, 10 grams of potato starch and 50 grams of sugar. Mix it well and then while stirring, bring this to a boil. Then once thickened, pour it into a bowl and keep it in your fridge for later. For the final prep, we only need to make the soufflé glasses. I thought it would be a super cool gimmick to bake the soufflés in champagne bottles. For this, I used a bottle cutter and cut the Krug bottles in half. Be careful so you don't cut yourself. Now take a soldering iron and heat the cutting line all around till the bottle breaks open. Again, be careful. Then take some sanding paper and with a drizzle of water sand down the sharp edges. It took some time and multiple levels of sanding paper, but the result was so worth it. Once it's completely level and all the edges are smooth, wash it well. Now take some soft butter and brush the inside with a thin layer. Start at the bottom and brush to the top. Then add a tablespoon of fine sugar and turn the glass to cover the inside. Remove any excess sugar and set it aside for later. Now it's finally time. We can start to finish the dessert. First, place the Krug shield on a plate and let it defrost completely. Do this as well with the golden champagne corks. Then the soufflé. Transfer 50 grams of the soufflé base into a bowl and mix it well. Now pour 75 grams of egg white into a mixing bowl and start beating it. Once a white foam starts to form, add 40 grams of sugar and beat it for a couple more minutes till the meringue has stiff fluffy peaks. Add a third of the meringue to the base and fold this together. Then add the remaining meringue and fold this together as well. Try to mix it as little as possible to keep all the air in the mixture. Now fill a piping bag and fill the glass just under the rim. Press the elderflower interior in the middle and fill the glass with the remaining soufflé mixture. Level it and then use your thumb to clean the side. Bake the soufflé at 175 degrees Celsius for 8 minutes. Once it's baked, gently place it on a small plate and put a white chocolate galette on top. Then the dessert is ready to be served. On the table, I serve it with the delicious broth. Okay guys, that's it for today. I can't lie, this was a big one. I've been working on it in my mind for weeks already, even months. And to prep and film everything, it took almost a week and a half, almost 2 weeks even. But I'm so happy with the result. It looks incredible. All the details of the Krug champagne and the lovely golden cork, the shield from the logo, that delicious broth with the gold flakes looks spectacular as well. And the showstopper, the soufflé. Obviously it has sunken a bit because, like you know, I always take B-roll pictures. So it's been, I think, 15-20 minutes since I took it out of the oven. So when you take it out of the oven, serve it straight away. Be careful, don't shake it too much because it will collapse. And it's gonna be a waste of all your time. But let me quickly zoom in and then I'll show what's inside because it's gonna look incredible. So there we go. And just look at that. As you can see, we have the filling, the elderflower filling. The soufflé is still hot. and the logo galette on top. I mean, that looks spectacular. So let's have a little bite. Guys, that's so good. You have that lovely elderflower flavor with the white chocolate galette that's on top, and that really nice, subtle, but so good lemon. Then we have this one. Let's break it up, and then you can see on the inside the confit lemon, the brioche chocolate, the praline, the chiboust. Here we have the golden cork. I mean, let's get closer one more time because I just want to show you how good it actually is. So let's take one of these corks and slice them open. And then you can see the lovely inside. Just look at that. Beautiful fillings. That gel is to die for, and the crispy brioche chocolate is gonna make such a difference. Really, really happy with it. So guys, like I said, incredibly happy with the result. Please let me know in the comments what you want to see next. Also go give it some love in the comments as well, because this one took a lot of time and it cost me quite a lot of money. So I need to earn it back. Give me some love in the comments, and I hope to see you next time. Like and share, and like I said, subscribe. And as always, bon appetit.